There was a time in my life where I wasn't willing to grit my teeth together and spend my time by myself for a couple of more years before settling down. So I had settled for less, and that led me to wasting years of my life being in depression, questioning everything that I was doing and wondering where it went wrong, making me live a life just like everybody else. So in today's video, I want to share how one decision led me to be in that position, aiming to bring awareness and to remind you that you have to be disciplined during the crucial moments in your life when things get difficult, so that you stay focused on your goal and become the man that you desire to be. I was in a relationship for 2.5 years with a girl that I didn't want to be with, and that was all because of an impatient decision that I had made. So in the year of 2019, I flew to Portugal in order to reset my mind completely. I successfully did that in 1 week, and I stopped smoking weed. I intentionally did that to distance myself from the environment that I was in, so that it would facilitate me in my journey of becoming the greatest version of myself. After a week, I flew back, and I started to work extremely hard on wanting to become an artist. Back then, that was my goal, to become the greatest artist of Belgium. So I was doing everything within my given power that I could. But shortly after, I started to feel lonely. I wanted love, I wanted affection, which is a normal desire that I needed and that I craved. But I didn't handle it well, because I had settled down for the first girl that would come my way. I downloaded Tinder and I just started swiping to the right. Just started swiping everybody. Here and there, I do like a super like, because I was desperate. I just wanted someone. And so the first girl that I got into a conversation with was the one that I eventually almost settled down with out of lust, out of need, and out of loneliness. I met her, and she didn't fit what I wanted from a woman. But yet, those factors played a role into me still deciding to stick. And I was hoping that it could maybe one day change. But it didn't. Me being a weak man, I had no backbone to stand on. Nothing to keep me straight, so I didn't say anything, and I allowed things to flow the way that they were flowing. For some odd reason, I had the impulse to smoke weed again, when I had reset my mind completely. Perhaps there was something that I didn't address that had gotten me to choose to smoke weed again. What I didn't know back then, which I knew now, is that I was running away from a specific truth. I had bought weed, and I was smoking it with her. We went back to her place, and that is when the first awakening started. I became disgusted with her. I knew that what I was doing was not right. She wanted to cuddle me, and I just pushed her away. Not that directly, but I felt so repulsed, but I didn't do anything with it. I allowed that moment to be. I knew that I needed to run away, that I needed to make the necessary step, and I didn't. And that led me down into depression for many years. And that led me to smoking more weed in the hopes that I would forget that moment, that I would forget my thoughts, that I would forget that I'm wasting my time, that I'm being comfortable, that I'm not doing the things that I'm supposed to be doing. Those 2.5 years were one of the most of my darkest years. I was going against my values. I didn't even feel like I could get out of that position. I thought, okay, this is what I caused upon myself. I'm too weak. I will have to settle for this. I'm afraid to make the decision. I'm afraid to confront the situation. So I just have to pay the price for the decision that I'd made, right? Which morally sounds right, but I could still end it. And it was for the best of the both of us, because the way that I was as a man wasn't respectful. My neediness was always playing a role. My lust always played a factor into the intimacy. It wasn't because I loved her. It was because I needed it. And I wanted to run away from the truth. And it all helped me to numb myself. And so for 2.5 years, I spent my time numbing my brain, running away from the thing that I needed to do. When if I had just not been impatient, that if I had just had self-respect, then I could have avoided all of this. And who knows where I would have been, but I don't know. I don't know, and I don't care anymore. Because thinking about that is not going to help me. I can't change the past, I can only change today. And it's with that mindset that I successfully managed to get myself out of that situation. I realized during my second awakening, when I was high in my garden, that I have two options: to either stay in this position or to make that decision. And I chose to make that decision. And it wasn't easy, because I spent weeks contemplating how I was going to bring it over. But just thinking didn't help me, because I needed to act. And there was this moment when we were FaceTiming together, when I hadn't spoken to her in almost a month, where I didn't speak to her, where I was focusing on myself, but also afraid of going down that confrontation because I knew that this moment would happen. Because I told myself I'm not going to lie to myself anymore. I'm not going to lie to her anymore. But I still try to avoid it because it was a habit for me to run away from the truth. So she FaceTimed me and she told me, I love you. I froze. I knew that in that moment I had two decisions to make again. Either lie or to say the truth. And I tried to avoid that moment. But she was quite an intelligent person and she said, hey, why are you not saying it back? What's wrong? And then I told her, this is not going to continue anymore. I'm breaking up with you. And just saying those words brought a lot of peace of mind. It felt like I had unlocked a new version of myself. I felt like a free man again. It was as if I had found the key to the cage that I had locked myself in and opened it up. And I could just walk away into the free world. I'm absolutely not proud of what I did, of how I had managed myself in that moment. Avoiding the truth, avoiding that moment, the way that I was in that relationship. I never wanted to show her to anyone. I was ashamed. I can only imagine the pain that I brought upon her, because I'm definitely sure that she didn't tell me everything about how she felt, because she knew also that I would just snap back at her with words and I would gaslight her. So she didn't. And she was afraid of going through that moment, to that confrontation herself. She was like, no, it's best that I just don't say anything. No, that's not a nice way to live. Not for the both of us. So breaking up with her was the best decision that I could make. For 2.5 years, I'd spent my time running away from just one conversation. It led me to almost settle down with somebody that I didn't want to settle down with. Almost have children with her that I didn't want to have. I wouldn't have been proud. I wouldn't probably even love the kids because I knew that I made this decision out of need, out of desperation, and out of loneliness. That's not how I want to live. This is not the man that I want to be, but I'm afraid of facing it. I genuinely don't wish this upon anyone else. And this is why I'm making this video, to make sure that you don't end up in the same position as I ended up in. Because this can be avoided. There will come moments, there will come times in your life when you need to make an uncomfortable decision. And fear should not be a reason to why you don't make that decision. Because that means that you are holding yourself back from growing and becoming the person that you want to be. You want to hold on to something because maybe you feel some sort of responsibility to live up to that. I believe that the responsibility you live up to is that you remain to be a man of integrity, a man who is honest, a man who lives by his values. And sometimes the way you will present yourself will be painful to other people, but it is the way that you have to live. And that will eventually get you to live the life that you want to live. That will mean that you will go through periods of loneliness. That will mean that people will judge you. But that's the price you pay for playing the game, instead of sitting on the sidelines and watching the game. You want to be the one who is the leader, who's out in the field, making it happen. Not the one who's wondering how it's going to go. You want to be able to do everything you can within your given power to achieve the goals that you want. Sometimes you're just one decision away from reaching the goal that you want or ending up like everybody else. Recognize for yourself what that decision is. I hope this video has been able to be of value for you. I have a document that is available in the description box. It's a document that you can use to address your goal, to address the actions that you need to take, and the consequences that are linked to that, to facilitate you to remind yourself of what it is that will get you closer towards your goal, towards reaching and becoming the man that you want to be, and what won't. And to frequently read that and use it as a tool to keep you from making an impatient decision. Let me know what you thought of this video in the comment section below. Maybe you've been in this position as well. Maybe you're going through it right now. Let me know how you're going through it or how you overcame it. I'm looking forward to having a conversation with you. I want to wish you a very nice day. And remember that you are 100% responsible for the results in your life. Make the hard decision today, and I'll see you in the next one. All right? Bye-bye.